law books was lying on the bed. His pajamas on the floor.
You tell him about Billy?
No, I tried to tell him last night, but he seemed too nervous and upset to talk to me.
I'll tell him myself. George, Billy's decided to come back here to practice law. I'm taking him into my law firm as an associate, not as my partner.
He told me once he'd never come back here.
I know. That's because he was hurt by his father's behavior with that woman. But everybody's forgotten that, and he has too. He should be along any time now. He'll start at the office tomorrow.
I'm taking the boys out to the farm with Wally, Leonard.
Okay.
Wally tells me you're thinking of renting 1,000 acres and buying more cattle.
Yes, I am.
Well, now I'll never get to see you. You know, I don't know what your son wants a wife for, Mrs. Tolliver. We never see each other. All he does is work.
I don't know what you'd do if I didn't make money. As extravagant as you are.
Bang, bang, Wally, you're dead. Mama, Wally's here.
Wally, come in and say hello.
You want a biscuit, Mama?
No, thank you. I want to straighten up a little bit. I wasn't expecting company. I look terrible. Good morning, Wally.
Morning.
Morning. I'm gonna get some more coffee. Y'all want some?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Sit down, Wally.
Is that Leonard as a boy?
No, that's George. This is Leonard.
How long you and Leonard been married?
15 years. I never went with any boy but Leonard. I was 16 when I had my first date with him. I think that's a mistake. I think a girl should date a lot of boys.
Who's that?
Leonard's father. He died when Leonard was 14. It was very tragic. He was killed in a hunting accident.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Hey.
Welcome, Billy.
Welcome.
Doesn't he look well, Leonard?
Yes, he does. Wally, this is Margaret's brother, Billy Dalton.
Hello, Wally. Hello, Billy. Margaret, why don't you and the boys stay, and I'll take you another day.
No, I want to go now, Mama.
Oh, all right, we'll go. I know Billy and Daddy want to talk business anyway.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you two at dinner.
Bye-bye.
Yay, we're going to Wally's farm. Yeah.
Thank you. Where does Wally Smith come from, Leonard?
Calhoun County. He's worked around ranches and farms all his life. He was working as foreman over at the Jackson Ranch in this county. I got to talking to him uptown and asking some questions about cattle and telling how hard it was trying to have cattle and law practice at the same time. And he asked me if I ever thought of taking in a partner. I said I hadn't, but I'd be interested.
Now, cut that out, both of you, or Wally will take you right back home.
River's low.
I hope it stays that way. I'm not ready for a flood.
Louis Hart's not running for county attorney again. I was thinking of giving up my job at the store and trying for it. Lonnie and I were discussing it last night.
I thought you and Bernice planned to get married.
We do.
How can you marry when you don't have a steady job?
Well, Leonard, Just because I don't practice law with you doesn't mean I don't want to practice law at all.
Do you realize, brother, that there are at least 3 other young lawyers here thinking of running for county attorney? It's very expensive. Billy's planning to run, and if you do, it'll make it very embarrassing for me. Billy asked me for my support last week, and I promised that I would give it to him.
Can't you tell him that you didn't know what George's plans were at the time? I'm sure he'd understand. Sit down, Lonnie.
I won't do that, Mother. That's not fair to Billy. He discussed his plans with me before resigning his job. Brother doesn't discuss his plans with me anymore.
I don't discuss my plans with you anymore because I know in advance what your reaction will be. Well, it has been precisely the same to anything I've ever wanted to do that didn't sacrifice my life to building up your career, your law practice, your ego, and I might add, your bank account. Well, I am running for county attorney. And if I lose, I will continue to practice law. Mama said I could use my room for an office. And I could sleep down here at night on the couch.
Well, that's up to you and Mama, brother. But where will you get the money needed for your county attorney race?
I want to divide the farm so I can sell my half.
If you're gonna sell, I want to buy your part.
Fine. What will you offer me?
$150 an acre.
I would like more than that.
I guess you would. Mama, you know this is unreasonable of him. He had no right to let me go ahead and invest all this money if this is what he's gonna do.
Well, I didn't know it then, did I?
Well, I'm sorry. You have to sell to me now at a price I can afford.
Well, I'm sorry. C.O. Becker will pay me.
I don't care what C.O. Becker will pay you. C.O. Becker hasn't made an investment because of your promises. And anyway, this land wasn't bought by you or me. It was our father's. And no matter how we've needed money, we've never touched it. But if you insist on an exorbitant price, I'll borrow the money some way.
Oh, I don't want you to do that.
Why don't you try borrowing the money, George, and not sell your land?
I went to the bank, Mama. They turned me down.
I'll loan you some money.
I don't want to borrow money from you. I don't want to be indebted to you ever again for anything.
George, Leonard, please stop this quarreling.
Mama.
Listen to me, Leonard. Please. Now, I'm not saying he's right, but George feels he has been deprived of so many of your advantages. You do have so much more than he does.
Mother, I told you a long time ago, I will not indulge these feelings of brothers. The truth is, he has not been deprived of anything that he really needed or wanted.
I'm just trying to explain to you how he feels. He feels that we have broken our word to him many times.
How? Name me one instance.
Your promise that if I waited 2 years before I started college, that you would then see me through college before you got married.
I'm married with your permission at your insistence. Brother, don't be a fool. Go ahead and get married. If you don't, I'll never forgive you. I'll get myself through law school. You told me the important thing was for me to have a law practice established that you could go into when you graduated. You thought if I had a law practice going, you could go to any kind of law school and make any kind of grades and come back and make a living. Well, it didn't work. When people came to my office, they didn't want to use you. They wanted me. Why go into all this again? Our partnership didn't work. But instead of being a man and saying I planned wrong, I failed, you have to blame me. I don't accept it. Everything you've touched in the last 7 years has failed. You're a loser. You're infected with losing. The truth is, you envy me everything I have. You'd take it all for yourself if you could. You can't stand it that I'm succeeding. And I'm succeeding not because I cheated you, but because I'm brighter than you are. Because I have more talent for law than you have. And Billy will succeed for the same reasons. because he's brighter and smarter than you are. And Mama, you're just being sentimental when you encourage him in these attitudes and in these rationalizations. George wants something that can never be. He wants us to go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. He wants us sharing everything. He wants me unmarried. He wants us living together constantly.
I am sorry. I am very sorry. And I apologize to you, Mama. And Leonard, I apologize to you. I know you don't mean to be. Anyway, I promised myself just last night in this very room that I wouldn't blow up again no matter what happened. And then this morning, just go and break my vow. And I apologize. I'm sorry. I'll sell you the land for whatever you want, Leonard.
Thank you. I'll draw up an agreement and have it for you to look at this afternoon.
Mama, Lonnie's going to California to live.
When, Lonnie?
After the election.
Oh, Eloise's family is there now, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Mama, Lonnie told me that when one of Henry Jackson's boys was working at Goliad, he met Papa's brother. When he found out he was from around here, he asked him all about Leonard and me.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't heard from him in so many years. They were never very close as a family.
I want to get some coffee. I think I'll have a cup too.
I know you criticize Leonard often, and you feel bitterly towards him, but when you were growing up, he was like a father to you.
I know that, Mama. I don't want to feel bitterly towards Leonard or anyone. You tell me Leonard was my father, and I know in many ways he was, but Lonnie was too.
Good.
Now all I need are some clients.
You'll get...
When I get my money from Leonard today, I want to give you what you need to pay down on your house in California.
I can't let you do that. You're gonna need your money.
I want you to have it.
Well, all right. But only as a loan. I'm gonna pay you back one day.
We'll see about that.
Before you go in, I want to tell you something I've never told anyone before. You asked me last night if I'd ever known any bitterness, and I told you no. And that was a lie. There was a time I felt great bitterness towards my father. Not because he was white, but because he never really did anything for me. Oh, I had his name, and while he lived, he always recognized me as his son. And yet he really didn't care enough about me to feed me or clothe me. I think the only time he lived, he gave me maybe 3 nickels. When my mama was dying, she asked your mother, the woman she worked for, to take care of me, to feed me, and let me sleep in your kitchen until I was grown and I could do for myself. Mind you, she did that. More than that, I slept in the room with you and Mr. Leonard. I had warm clothes and good food. You were like brothers to me.
How do you do?
Howdy.
Is this where George Tolliver and his mama live?
Yes, sir?
George Tolliver?
Yes, sir.
I'm your Uncle Bertram.
Oh, how do you do? Uncle Virgil, this is my brother, Leonard.
Hello, Uncle Virgil.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
Excuse me, I'll go tell Mama you're here.
Is George a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
I thought that colored boy I met from here told me he was a merchant, worked in a department store.
He was. He was. You see, it's all a little confusing. He was practicing law with me, but that didn't work out. And he temporarily got himself a job working in a department store. And now he's going to run for county attorney and have his own law office.
Where's he getting the money for all this?
Well,
Hope he's not going into debt. There's a rule I've used all my life. Never do anything you have to go into debt for. How much do you remember about your father?
well,
Your daddy was a very impatient, hard-headed, stubborn, impractical man. Had to let him walk right out of our lives. We visited him twice right here. Almost broke my heart to see him. Hardly more than a boy himself. And straddled with you children and a wife. Of course, when news about that hunting accident came to us, we weren't surprised. I had a sister came with no surprise. I was expecting it.
what do you mean?
Son, I don't think your daddy was in any hunting accident. I think he fixed it to look that way. I think he was burdened with debt and responsibility, and he deliberately pulled that trigger himself.
What's the matter with you, old man? Are you crazy? Why did you come here after all these years to tell me this? What difference does it make now how my papa died? That was 25 years ago. Why don't you let him rest in peace? Get out of here if you can't. Get out of here and don't come back. I think he's crazy. He tried to tell me Daddy committed suicide, that he was in debt.
He's crying out there. What are you crying for, old man?
My sister's dead. And my brother's dead. And I want to die because I'm all alone. But I can't die because I'm too mean to die. And it's just, I know what gets into me, boy. Saying the things I do, I get excited, I say this thing. The first thing that comes into my head. I'm to be in Mississippi noon the day after tomorrow. I'm going to Mississippi. Put a tombstone on my sister's grave. Put up a glorious tombstone. And that she shall have. Because she was devoted to me all her life. I was her father, her husband, her children. I was her brother, and she was my sister, and I was...
Hello, Virgil?
Lenora?
Yes?
You're an old woman now.
Yes, I guess I am. And you're an old man.
Where is Horace buried?
Here?
When I come back, I'll have to stop by and take some flowers to my brother's grave. Lenora, where's your family now? Where's the brothers and the sisters?
They're all dead, Virgil. I am the last.
And I'm the last. I'm a very wealthy man now, Lenora, and I've come to make it up to you and the children.
Well, I'm happy for you. But Leonard and George are not children now, and they don't need you. And I don't need you, so I thank you to leave.
I'm your dead husband's brother, Lenora.
I know who you are, but you are a stranger to me and my children, so please go.
Lenora,
I want you to go. I have nothing to say to you. You didn't come near us when we needed you, and we don't want anything from you now. So please just leave.
all right. All right. I meant no harm. Goodbye, Leonard.
No, George.
George.
Palmer!
That's when there's a rotten egg. I'm gonna meet you there. No, you
You see
aren't.
Margaret and Mr. Virgil?
Daddy, Daddy, Daddy!
Hey, pals.
Do you know where Margaret is?
No. You Buck Jones or Hoop Gibson?
Who Gibson? Buckdown.
Well, I guess we'll find her around town. Come on, boys.
You don't have to be responsible for the boys. Leave them here.
All right.
Boys, I want you all to stay here with your grandmother and mind her.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, Harry, how's the election going? Any returns yet?
No, sir. Not yet.
Hello. Hello. I've seen you standing out here so often from my window inside the house there. I'm Virgil Tolliver. It's only my second day out of bed. I don't know if you've heard of my illness or not, but I was seized with a heart attack right out here in the yard. Not over 4 months ago. What's the matter with that man, Charlie? I tried to engage him in a conversation. He just walked away.
That's old Lester White. He doesn't speak to anyone anymore. He killed a man named Jim Sparks about 16 years ago.
Why'd he kill him?
He was his wife's lover.
Doesn't look good for Tolliver.
Looks like Dalton's gonna get Egypt. No, the village.
Hello, Bernice. Did you vote?
Yes, sir. I voted during my lunch hour.
Well, I'll bet I know one vote George got.
Bernice, New Gulf came in 2-1 in favor of Billy. I got so upset I couldn't stay downtown and watch anymore. Uh-oh. Sounds like they're blasting down at the river. Maybe somebody got drowned. They ought to keep people out of this river. So treacherous.
You tired?
Yes, I am. I've been up since 5 this morning. After I took you home last night, I stayed up a while and talked with Evelyn Sparks. She was half drunk. She was telling me all about Lester White killing her boy.
I wish you didn't have to stay in that common old things boarding house. She's very immoral, you know.
What's the matter? You jealous?
Don't tease me, Wally. I don't like it.
Well, are you?
Why would I be jealous of an old woman like that? What happened to your hand? You been fighting again?
It's on, honey. Someone might see us.
Such a brave man, and you're afraid of someone seeing me kiss your hand. There's no one here. They're all out in the dining room. You still afraid to kiss me?
So everybody thinks that Billy's going to win. You pleased?
I don't know. I'm sorry now he ever came back here. I never get to see him. All he does is work. He's mad at me. We got into a terrible fight the other night, and he barely speaks.
What did you fight about?
My father. And how rotten, I mean, really rotten, Billy and my mother treated him when he was sick and dying. You see, the year I graduated from college, my father began having an affair with a girl living here.
Agnes Thomas.
How did you know that?
Evelyn Sparks told me all about it last night.
Were you discussing my father with Evelyn Sparks?
No. I was not discussing him with her. She just told me that he was having an affair with this young girl and that he was giving her money. Don't look so upset. Your father having an affair is not the end of the world.
Well, it was to my mother and my brother. My mother and brother never spoke to him again, unless we had visitors. Don't, Wally.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you unhappy.
The election returns must all be in by now. Wally? Is that Lester White standing out there watching us?
Yeah, he's moving on now. It's just imagination.
Wally! Mommy!
How about some fishing tomorrow morning, boys?
The other day when we went fishing at the river, Wally showed us how he could swim.
Oh, you be careful swimming in that river, Wally. Some parts of it can be very dangerous, even for the best swimmers.
Don't you worry about me. I know rivers. I began swimming when I was younger than these boys. One day, my old man decided it was time for me to swim. And he picked me up, threw me in the water, and he said, "Swim or you'll drown." And I swam. Don't worry, I'm not gonna try that on you boys. No way. They sit right on that bank and they watch me while I have my swim, don't you boys? Sometimes I mark a little place for them to wait in on warm days while I'm doing my swimming.
Mom, I'm tired.
Are you, baby? Well, we'll get you to bed pretty soon.
Will you sing to me while I go to sleep?
Oh, all right. Ever since Horace was a little boy, he's liked me to sing him to sleep.
I do too.
Yes, you do. The trouble is they don't like the same songs. Horace likes hymns. What's your favorite hymn, hon?
Will there be new stars on my crown?
That's right. And Jesus loves me. And blessed assurance.
I didn't know you could sing hymns.
There's a lot you don't know about me, Mr. Wallace Smith.
Billy won.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you been good, boys?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think I'm going to turn in. Congratulations, Billy. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Well, I better get these young men to bed. Come on, boys.
We'll be over as soon as we see George. What's the matter with Margaret? Honestly, I don't know. Have I done anything? Have I said anything to offend her? She acts like she's sorry you won.
Well, I think she's hurt with me. We had a quarrel the other night. We were discussing how bitterly my mother felt towards my father. And Margaret said there were two sides to everything. I mean, even to what Papa did. What my father did was low down and despicable, and I'll never in this world forgive him or forgive. Congratulations, Billy. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Lonnie.
I have the final count if you want to see it. You came in second. Lester Harris was third. Wilbur Scott last.
Thank you. Leonard, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Good night.
Night. Oh, I feel 100 years old all of a sudden. So tired. Whew. Billy and I worked so hard. I guess you did too, brother.
Yes, I did.
Well, it's like old times our being together in this room. Are you still going to California, Lonnie?
No, sir. Eloise's father was taken sick and had to have a serious operation, and we had to let him use the money I'd borrowed from Mr. George for my house.
You need any extra money, Lonnie?
Yes, I need everything I can get.
I just rented 1,000 acres of land next to my farm. I could give you a job working out there in your spare time, if that would be of any help.
Thank you. It would.
Well, brother, I hope this is the last time we'll ever have to oppose each other.
I hope so, too.
You came in second, and that counts for something.
Yeah, I guess it does. One night when I couldn't sleep, I rode out to Matagorda, to the Gulf, where Mama's people came from. To that desolate place where their plantation house stood, where storms and hurricanes have whipped and torn and driven houses and men away. And all that's left to show that they were ever there are a few brick chimneys and part of a crumbling foundation. There was a kind of primitive stillness about the place. It could have been 100 years ago, or 200. And I, my ancestor, seeing the coast for the very first time, the way it had always been. Except for the chimneys and the foundation. And the car and me. Then I rode until I found the graves, about a mile from the house. Again, there were no flowers, no trees, but weeds. A jungle of weeds. Johnson grass and buffalo grass as high as my waist. And silence. A terrible, tombstones had toppled over, broken. The graves themselves lost in their covering of weeds. I thought, here lies power. Here lies ambition. Let Leonard have them. Leonard gets his way about everything, doesn't he? He always has. Even when we were boys. He's taken from us and used us. And what do we have? I feel such bitterness, Lonnie. Help me. I don't want to. But I feel such bitterness.
George is surprising everybody. He is the beginning of a nice law practice.
You know, I wonder what happened to that old man that used to come here. I haven't seen him for a while now.
He's in the hospital. He's been there ever since the day before yesterday. Somebody beat him up. He was found 4 days ago on a country road. I'm going to see where the fire is.
Miss Helen, I'd like to ask your advice about something. The doctor told me I was well enough to go home now, and Leonard came right to the point yesterday and asked me when I was going.
Sometimes he can be very abrupt. I don't think he means it.
Well, I'd like your advice, please. Should I tell him the truth? I've lost all my money. I've nothing left.
You tell him.
Leonard, I wonder if I could talk to you a minute, please.
Some other time, Uncle Virgil. I'm busy now. Margaret. I want to talk to you.
Well, I can't talk now, Leonard. Wally is taking the boys fishing, and I promised I'd go for them.
I'll get the boys. I don't want you or the boys near Wally Smith again.
Are you crazy, Leonard? Why? Who could write such lies?
Do you deny this?
Certainly. A coward writes an anonymous letter.
Come with me.
Where are we going?
To find Lester White.
Why?
He wrote this letter. I received it 4 days ago. I turned it over to the FBI to investigate. And they called me this morning to say Lester White had written it. And I went to see him in the hospital, and he admitted what he had done. And I asked him what he had against you and me to do something like this. I told him I thought he, of all people, must know how serious it was. He said everything in the letter was true. And that the reason he was in the hospital was that 4 nights ago, he came upon you and Wally. And it hadn't been the first time. But this time, Wally had seen him and accused him of spying and beat him up. Now, come on. We'll go to him now and tell him you deny it. Come on, Margaret.
No. I can't go. I don't deny it. It's true.
Oh, Margaret, no.
I'm in love with Wally, and I'd like a divorce.
Margaret, knowing what your father's behavior did to you and Billy, how could you do this to your children? It wasn't a fire. Someone drowned in the river.
Probably some Mexican cotton pickers, Charles. Oh.
Miss Helen, what am I going to do about my problem?
You go in and speak to Lenora, and she will speak to Leonard.
That's a fine idea. Thank you, ma'am. Lenora,
Yes, Virgil, what is it?
I have a confession to make.
Excuse us, Uncle Virgil. I had to talk to Mama.
Certainly, certainly.
What is this all about?
Reese.
Hey, brother, what are you doing home from work?
I had to talk to Mama. Is George in the house?
I think so.
George? George!
Yes, Charlie.
Can I talk to you for a moment?
Yes, sir.
Son, a terrible thing has happened. The two little boys, Horace and Leonard Jr., were drowned in the river just now. They're down there now looking for their little bodies.
Oh, no, Charlie. No.
You better go tell your brother and your mother.
Charlie, how did all that happen?
Well, I heard that Wally Smith took them fishing down the river. He wanted to swim, so he left them wading on a sandbar while he swam across the river. Evidently waded in too far, so when he was halfway across, he looked back. They were in deep water screaming for help. They were pulled under by a sucker before we could get to them.
Leonard?
What is it, George? What is it?
I have to tell you this, brother. I don't want to be the one to have to do it. But I do. Horace and Leonard Jr. They were just drowned in the river.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
Sweet Jesus. I want my boys! Leonard. I want my boys! Leonard. I want my boys! I want my boys! Leonard. Horace! Leonard Jr. Horace! Leonard Jr. I don't want her here, Billy. It's for her sin my boys were killed. Their death is her punishment.
Leonard.
Their death is her punishment.
Don't say that, please. Don't say that.
Oh, Leonard! Oh, look at my boys!
No, Billy, no! It's my punishment! Billy, I don't want to go in there! Let me die, please! Let me die! That death is my punishment! I'm responsible for the death of my baby! I want to die! Please, let me die! I said to Wally, I'm afraid. Aren't you afraid of what he said? That will be punished, I said. Don't hate me, Billy. Tell me that you don't hate me. I've never done anything like this before. I've never misbehaved before. I've always been a good wife to Leonard before. My little boys. Were you there when they found them? I thought they would never find them. They're in the river, they said, drowned, but we can't find them. Leonard! Billy, help me find them. Leonard Jr., your mom is sorry, please. Please forgive your mama. Please. No, I don't want to go with you. Don't take me.
You can't stay out here. Margaret, Margaret. Come on, Margaret.
Bernice?
Yes,
Where's Billy?
I don't know. Go back to sleep. Doctor wants you to go to sleep.
I told Billy what I'd done. I called him in here and I asked him to close the door, and I told him all for myself. I said that I had behaved just like Papa did, only Papa was killed for what he did wrong, and Billy and I was spared. And my two little boys were killed for what I did wrong, and I was spared.
They weren't killed for that.
Weren't they? God bless you for saying that. Then why was they killed?
I don't know.
I begged Billy to go ask Wally Smith to leave town, because if he stays here, Leonard might kill him. And he shouldn't die. I should die. I pray to die. I asked Billy to forgive me, but he just looked at me and didn't say a word. I know he's never going to speak to me again, just like he never spoke to Papa again. What time is it? Shh. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I've spent many a sleepless, restless night listening to that clock strike as a girl and a woman. Once Horace had the croup, and he said that he could get back to sleep if I could get the clock to stop striking, and I said, Jesus loves me, this I know. Horace, Leonard Jr., save them. Save them.
Wally! Wally Smith!
Get out of the car, Wally.
Get out of the car.
Honey, wait a moment, please. Let's just stand here a moment before we go into the house. Can you see who's standing in the yard there?
Yes, sir.
Just cold all of a sudden. Are you cold?
Come on. Let's go on inside.
Hello, Steve.
I was sorry to hear about your boys, Leonard. I was at the other end of the county. I'd have been down to the river myself.
I know that. Thank you. It was kind of you to come and tell me, though.
Billy, I think you better come with me.
Steve? What is it? What's he done?
He killed Wally Smith.
Billy.
I want my sister. Oh, come on, Billy. You can see your sister later. Come on.
Did you talk with Billy?
Yes?
How is he?
Well, he's heartbroken about the boys, of course.
He asked how you were bearing up. I told him Margaret was in the hospital. He wants to resign as county attorney.
Did you tell him I didn't want him to do that?
Yes. He asked me to write him a letter of resignation. Leonard, they set Billy's bail at $10,000. I told him you'd take care of it. And, Wally's mother and father were at the jail today. They came to pick up Wally's body. Their attorney, Malcolm Weaver, called me before I left for the jail. Yeah, well, he wants a copy of your agreement with Wally.
To have Wally here managing my farms and cattle, I gave him a third interest in the cattle.
I know. Uncle Virgil's lost all his money. He's broke. He asked if he could live on here with us. I told him he could. That all right with you?
Yes.
Good.
George. You know what I have in this package? Letters from Margaret to Wally. At least that's what I've been told is in here. I haven't been able to even look at them.
Where did you get them?
From a man who had the room next to Wally's. He called and asked if I wanted them. I told him that I did. He wanted money, of course.
And did you give him money?
Yes. I can't bring myself to even look at them. Could you see if it is really Margaret's handwriting?
Leonard, I don't want to read those letters.
I don't want you to read them. Just look at the handwriting.
Yes, it's her handwriting. What are you going to do with them?
I'm going to destroy them.
Leonard, I wouldn't do that.
I'm not going to have these letters made public.
Leonard, if it is ever discovered that you destroyed evidence, it could go very badly for Billy.
I was read on the phone parts of the letters. I want them destroyed.
Someone to see you, Leonard.
Who is it, Cousin Helen?
Evelyn Sparks.
What do you want, Evelyn?
Sarah Brightman been here?
I don't know who that is.
Had a room at my house. Skipped out. Some valuable letters have been stolen from my room. I'd hidden them there for safekeeping. They were letters to Wally Smith from your wife. Did Harry bring them here to you? Well, doesn't really matter. I remember them very well. Wally and I used to get drunk together, and he'd read them to me. So I don't really need them to be able to quote what's in there. They'll make interesting testimony at the trial. What's it worth to you if I forget what's in those letters? I could forget a lot of other things, too. I could forget if I was sober the night of the killings. If I remember that I was drunk. Nothing I said around town would mean anything. And I saw plenty. I want money, boys. I want my share. I know to get Billy Dalton free, money is gonna have to be spent. I know when Lester White murdered my boy, money was spent. And the guilty went free. Do I get my share, boys? Think about it. I'll be waiting at home to hear from you.
You gonna buy her off, too?
I want to thank you boys for letting me stay on here. I did a terrible thing to your father. I refused to loan your father money once. I've always been afraid because of that. Maybe his death was an accident.
I lied to you.
What?
He wasn't killed in any hunting accident. He fixed it to look that way. He shot himself. Son. That day when they brought his body home, I found a note in the pocket of his jacket saying what he had done and asking Mama to forgive him. And I destroyed it. A long time after that, I was so ashamed of him and what he had done that I couldn't stand to hear him even talked about. But lately, I wanted to know about him and why he did what he did. I felt such compassion for him. Sorry I told you so abruptly that way about Daddy. I know that's why I've always had a particular feeling about the farm. It was with the insurance money he left that Mama was able to pay it off.
I've been to the cemetery.
Did you take the car?
No, I walked. The doctor told Margaret last night about Billy. He's not sure he understood they have her so heavily sedated. I'm going to call now over to the hospital to see how she is. Have you eaten anything today?
No.
You're going to make yourself ill if you don't try to eat something. Let me fix you some soup.
I'm just not hungry, Mom.
You haven't eaten for 3 days. You've gotten no sleep. George told me just now what you said about your father's death. That you found a note.
Yes, ma'am. Which I destroyed. I'm sorry now I told George. You might as well have gone on believing it was an accident.
I have always felt it wasn't an accident.
Mama.
I always have. And all these years, you thought you were protecting us from knowing the truth. I'm sorry you took this burden on yourself.
Why didn't you tell me, Mama?
I wasn't sure. I thought why burden you with something I wasn't sure of, and whenever his death was mentioned by anyone, you would leave the room.
Leonard, Wally Smith's father just called me. He said Evelyn Sparks told him that you had some letters that belonged to Wally.
What'd you tell him?
I told him I knew nothing about it.
And you lied?
Yes, I lied.
Why did you lie? For your brother? To save your brother from what he did? Mama, I paid a man some money for letters Margaret wrote to Wally Smith. Evelyn Sparks said they were stolen from her room.
Where are these letters now?
I burned them. They were love letters, Mama. Intimate. Detailed. Mama says she always felt Daddy's death was a suicide. Did you know that?
Yes.
Do you think that too?
Yes. When I was a kid, a boy in school told me his father said it was suicide. I was on my way to tell you what I'd heard when Lonnie told me I shouldn't do that. He reminded me how sick you'd been after Daddy's death. And that I should ask Mama about it instead.
You thought you were sparing me, and I thought I was sparing you. I'm going now to the district attorney and tell him about me burning up Margaret's letters. I should know by now that burning up letters doesn't change anything. with me?
If you want me to.
I can't go. You go for me. I can't bear to leave the house.
Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yes. This was Leonard Jr.'s. He liked to play here.
You look so tired, Leonard. Please get some rest.
I'll try, Mama. I'll try.
So quiet. Was quiet this way the night the two little boys died. Quiet this way at my house in Goliad when my sister died. Quietness of death all around the house.
Don't say that, Virgil. Now, please, please don't say that. Bill is on trial for his life. Things are not going well.
I told George I was without funds.
How did you lose your money, Virgil?
Oh, about 5 years ago, without telling Sister, I began to invest in South Texas land. I wanted to surprise her with my profits. I surprised her, all right. The land I bought and paid for wasn't the land I looked at. The land I gave our money for was all underwater. I lost everything.
It's over. The jury found him guilty.
Oh, Lenora, did they sentence him?
Yes. He's been given a suspended sentence.
Billy, good luck to you.
Thank you. Saw you from the window. Were you coming to the house?
No, I can't stay. I went by the hospital twice. I wanted to go in and see Margaret. I wasn't able to. Have you seen her?
No.
When you see her, will you tell her all right as soon as I get settled?
I will. Where will you go, Billy?
I don't know.
What will you do?
I've made no plans.
You need money?
No.
If you ever need money, get in touch with me.
Thank you. And I know, Leonard, you spent a great deal of money on my defense. I'll pay you back some way.
I don't want repayment. Why wouldn't you testify, Billy? Evelyn Sparks admitted Wally Smith cursed you and reached for his gun first. Why?
I had nothing to say except that I killed Wally Smith, and everybody already knew that.
Hello, Billy.
Hello. I saw you every day at the trial, and I appreciate that. I'm sorry for all the anguish I've caused you all.
Sorry about the letters, Billy. I don't know why I destroyed them. If they'd have sent you to jail, I would have felt responsible.
I didn't go to jail.
No. I had such plans.
I know. Goodbye.
I remember when he was a boy, just out of high school, when his father died. He was so attentive to his mother. They were inseparable. She was always so proud of him. She told me once she couldn't have gotten through her life without him. I thought when he came back here, she would have been so proud of him.
He hated his father.
I know.
Much as I love my father, Mama, the other night I found stuck away in the closet the gun I used when I went hunting with Papa. What happened to his gun?
I don't know. I don't think it was ever brought back home. I suppose it was left in the field after they found him.
I thought, Mama, just now, what was to prevent me from going hunting and slipping on a barbed wire fence like Papa did?
Oh, Landon, promise me.
I couldn't, Mama. I tried, but I couldn't. It's like rain. We could use a rain. Been so dry.
Yes, hasn't it? Was the note your father left addressed to me?
No, ma'am. Not to anybody.
Do you remember what it said?
Oh, ma'am. So long ago. It was printed. I remember that. It was something about debts and responsibilities and asking our forgiveness.
Well, it doesn't matter now. Oh, help me, Leonard. Help me help your mother. I'm so frightened. What is happening to us? The death of your two little boys, Wally's death, your father's death. Have we committed some terrible sin? Are we being punished? Ever since your father's death, I've had to pretend courage and hide my fears. I can't any longer. I'm in terror. I'm in desperate terror. Help me, Leonard. Help your mother.
How can I help you, Mama? I can't help myself. How can I help you? The other night, when I couldn't sleep, I got up just before daybreak and I went out to the cemetery, to the little boys' graves. I stood between Papa's grave and their graves, and I went back over all that happened. I tried to imagine what it would be like if it never happened. What it would be like for me now if Papa hadn't killed himself, or if I hadn't found his note and destroyed it. George and I hadn't quarreled, if I hadn't brought Wally here to work for me, or Billy to live here. But you know what I wanted most to change? Not that my little boys did not die, not that, but that I would have a chance to love them again. George tells me if you mention the name of our boys to Margaret, she cries uncontrollably. Mention them to me, I don't cry. And I want to cry. I feel hurt, empty, and tired. But I don't cry. George tells me Margaret's still very ill. Doctors think she should go to Galveston. Somebody has to tell her how the trial came out. Will you come with me? I think I want to go to see Margaret. Will you come with me?
All right, Leonard. I'll get my hat. Margaret.
They let me dress and sit up in my room this morning. I heard two of the nurses talking about the outcome of the trial, and I slipped away. I wanted to talk to Billy. Haven't seen him. I went by his boarding house, but he was gone.
He left Harrison. He told George that he would be in touch with you all after he was settled.
What apartment are you renting?
Ours.
Why?
I need the money.
There are things I want in there that are very dear to me.
I won't dispose of anything until you've been consulted.
I started to go in just now. The front door was locked. I looked inside the bedroom window. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All the things are there like they left them that morning. The clothes, the toys. Don't touch them. I don't want them ever touched.
They can't stay there, Margaret. I could never live there again, could you?
No, I could never live there again.
Oh, Margaret.
Hello, Margaret.
Hello, George.
They just called from the hospital. They're very concerned about you. I told them I'd bring you back.
Leonard, forgive me. All right. All right. I'll go. Hello, Leonard.
Hello, Margaret. You looking well?
Thank you. I'm feeling better.
I'm sorry I had to ask you to come back here to recuperate.
Oh, that's all right. I know these last few months you've spent a lot of money.
Afraid it had to. Not much left.
Did my illness cost you a great deal?
Well,
I know that it did. You don't have any money left.
No.
Was it my illness and Billy's defense that took all your money?
No, if you remember, I had a partnership agreement with Wally Smith, and his family sued me. They made excessive demands, but I thought it wiser to settle out of court, and the settlement was costly. I had to sell off my cattle and my rent houses, finally.
Your father's farm, too?
No, I have that left.
My driver told me you'd gone back to the office.
Yes, about 6 weeks ago, I began to go back.
You look older, Leonard.
Well, I'm 40 now.
Are you? You had a birthday while I was away, and I didn't remember. Forgive me, I've been very preoccupied.
Oh, that's all right.
I heard you had a monument put up for the boys.
Yes, a very simple one, but I think you'll like it.
I'm sure I will. George and Bernice are married now.
Yes,
Bernice was here when I arrived. She brought me a bouquet of pink roses.
that was very nice.
Leonard, your mother's given me her room, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. But I don't like it back there. It's too quiet. I was wondering if I could take the front room and let her have her room back. See, I'm supposed to rest in bed some each day, and at least while I'm resting, I can watch the street and the people coming in and out of the house.
All right. Just go in there. I'll tell Mama she won't mind.
Thank you. Leonard,
Yes?
I would like your forgiveness.
I can't give you that. I can give you money, take care of you, find a place for you to live.
I've forgiven you.
For what? What have you to forgive me for? For the death of my boys? I'm sorry. It's a mistake. We shouldn't try to see each other. It's too painful. I'll live someplace else where you're stronger, and I can find you a place of your own.
Leonard. Forgive me, please forgive me.
I'll forgive you. George, I'm going away.
When?
As soon as I can. I think I'd like Canada. I thought so often of Palmer Evans leaving here to manage that big ranch out there. I want to go someplace where I'm not known and I know no one. I'll sell the farm. Maybe you could take over the lease of my office, my secretary. I'll sell you my furniture.
I don't think I'd have any use for that, Leonard, for a while. I'm planning on running for county attorney again. But I would like to talk over with Bernice about our buying the farm, though.
I don't think you could afford that, George. I'm going to ask for a great deal.
Well, how much?
$500 an acre.
No, I can't pay that. However, Leonard, I feel you should consider that I sold my half of the farm to you for considerably less than that. And consequently, I feel...
The circumstances were very different.
Oh, no, Leonard. Not for me.
For everybody. For everybody. Don't you have enough now? You have a wife, a law practice, you're expecting a child. You're county attorney. You have exactly what you want. Are you so greedy? What else do you want? This house, the land, you want me to give it to you? All right, I will. I'll give it to you because I'm afraid of your wishes. God knows what black, terrible matter you bring about. George, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I swear to God, I didn't mean that. I'm glad for whatever you have. You worked hard and you've got what you deserve. Take the land for exactly what I paid you for it.
Leonard.
Please forgive me, brother. I'm half crazy. I don't know what I'm doing or saying.
All right.
I want to tell you something, Margaret. Can you hear me? I'm going to Canada to live. I'm selling my farm to George. I'll give most of the money to you and you can go where you like. Did you hear me?
Margaret's got a gun in there. Go tell George he's in with Mama.
Margaret, you heard what I said about Canada and selling the farms? Please open the door now so we can discuss it.
I'm resting.
But you're not resting. You're there by the door. Let me in. I know you have a gun in there. I meant it when I said that I forgive you.
No, you don't. Don't lie to me.
Come to Canada with me. We'll start our life there again. We'll live on a farm or a ranch. We'll work hard and rest at night. I don't rest at night now, Margaret. Sometimes I think I'm going to lose my mind if I don't sleep. I get in my car and I ride all night long like Brother used to, remember?
I remember.
Margaret, give us the gun.
Go away! Go away and leave me alone, all of you! Go away and leave me alone! All of you! Oh. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I was kept under lock and key there in Galveston. There was a girl down the hall who screamed in terror all night long. Everybody had somebody. Even the girl who screamed, she had a mother and a father. But I had no one except for attendants, doctors, nurses. My father died all alone. No one went near him except to bring him food and water, not Billy, not Mama. When they went into his room, they wouldn't speak. They didn't ask him how he felt or what he wanted, or would he like something to read. Not one word would they speak to him. Silence. Every night when they left me alone in my room in the hospital, I knew I was going to die just like my father did. Alone, lonely. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Leonard,
Yes, Margaret.
don't leave me, please. Please.
All right.
Even if I sleep and close my eyes, don't leave me.
I won't.
If you're here beside me in the room, I can rest. If I'm alone, I can't rest. I have to rest, Leonard.
I know.
I'm tired. I'm so tired. I know I can get well if only I can rest.
What's wrong, son?
Shh. Margaret's asleep.
She the one that's been in Galveston?
Yes, sir.
Enjoying the sea breezes, I hope. Sister and I went to Galveston once. Stayed at the Buccaneer Hotel. Boy, it was high as a cat's back.
It's all right. It's all right. You just had a bad dream. You just had a bad dream.
I have them all the time. Always the same one. I hear Horace and Lana Jr. calling to me from the river. But I can't get to them.
Margaret, when you were 16 and I was 18, and we first became secretly engaged, I wanted so to please you in all things. Sitting here now, watching over you, looking at you asleep and sorrowing, I wanted again so to please you.
Loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes.
I just wanted to tell you before I go back to work, I want you to sell your farm for all that you can get.
George.
Now, I'm sorry, I talked just now in a way I had no right to. I can't realistically consider buying this land at any price. I'd have to borrow from the bank, and with the new election just a year away, I'll need all the money I can get together for that. So would you please just forget I mentioned it, and you go and sell it for all that you can.
Couldn't you buy half the farm back? Your half, I mean.
I don't see how.
I wouldn't require any cash. You could pay me so much a month. Make it over as long a period as you like.
Well, the whole purpose was for you to get as much money as you could so you could leave for Canada.
Maybe I won't go. It came to me as I was sitting there by Margaret that I was leaving out of shame. That's no reason to go anyplace. To go like Lonnie did to California, or any place to better yourself or to be with your family is one thing. But my family's here. My father's buried here, and my boys. My brother lives here, and his wife, and my mother. Just now, Margaret sat up in bed screaming. When I woke her, she told me she heard the boys calling to her. Brother, sometimes I wake up at night and I hear those two little boys calling to me out of that water to save them. And I can't save them. They've gone down in that water forever. But I can try to save myself and their mama. And that can count for something. Mama told me when I took Billy into my law firm, it broke your heart. Did it?
I guess so. It seemed so at the time, anyway. But, Leonard, don't you lose any sleep over that. It has mended very well.
I'm gonna ask Marty to resume our marriage. She needs me.
Yes, she does.
She never needed me before. And I never needed her before. I do now.
Leonard? Leonard?
I'm coming. I'm just out in the hall. Here I am. Now go on back to sleep.
There's an old man out there. Killed his wife's lover. Just walks the streets all night long. Once when I was still in South Texas, I had this dream. It was just as real to me. I dreamt I was still a boy, 7 or 8, and this preacher was there. And I was crying. And he kept saying, forgiveness. I kept crying. He kept saying, forgiveness.
Forgiveness?
That's all he said. Forgiveness. And then I woke up and I went to tell my mom and papa about my dream, but of course they weren't there. No one was there. I was alone. Who was there to forgive? Who are you, son? George or Leonard?
Leonard.
Are you the oldest or the youngest?
Oldest.
Who am I? Horace or Virgil?
Virgil.
Am I the oldest?
Yes, sir.
I broke my brother's heart, and he died. By his own hand, he died. Did you break your brother's heart?
Yes, sir.
Did he die?
No, sir, he's alive. And his heart is mended very well.
Are you alive?
Yes, sir. My heart is broken.
Who broke it?
I did.
George?
Leonard.
You think it'll mend?